Well, since we're on the topic, right, you want to hear about these types of clinical reasoning that we
Yes.
use in
Yeah,
occupational
definitely.
therapy? So oftentimes in healthcare or, any sort of, clinical type of profession, there's this term that people use, which is clinical reasoning. And you have to be a good clinical reasoner, right? And it's basically just applying logic to clinical situations, right? But occupational therapy has done something kind of neat, and they've broke it down into some recognized styles. And when you know about the styles, it's neat, it's helpful. And so we just talked about interactive reasoning, which is using the power of your interaction with clients to end up using that therapeutically to create change. There's another one that you NLP people will certainly gravitate
Nelpers.
towards. Your
Nelpers.
Nelpers, what
Nelpers,
Nelpers will do,
yeah.
right, is narrative reasoning, right? And because you guys use narrative reasoning all the time, right? So narrative reasoning is paying attention to what story the client is telling themselves about themselves, which this is a very powerful kind of a thing when you have a 22-year-old that just had a spinal cord injury. What story are they telling themselves about what's possible for the rest of their life? And so then our job is to very gently, carefully, subtly begin to challenge and reshape the story that they're telling themselves, right? And our job is to be there to help them tell a different story, right? So somebody has a spinal cord injury and now they're saying, I'm never going to be able to do this and that again, right? We say, I'd like to show you a video of somebody who has a spinal cord injury that's higher than your level. I'm going to show you them getting themselves dressed independently. That will blow somebody's mind, right? So then that would be just, challenging their story. So there's interactive reasoning, narrative reasoning. Another one is just simply procedural reasoning, right? What is the next logical step based upon procedure, right? You're here at this point, and what's the next step in the procedure is to go there, right? So, okay, you can lift your hand now. Well, now let's do something with it. That would be the next thing. Or it could be something like, where somebody's at within a hierarchy, a structure, within a facility that they live in. What are the rules, and how do we work with those rules to do the next logical piece, right? Another one is called pragmatic reasoning. And pragmatic reasoning is being practical about the reality of the situation. Hey, look, I'd love to spend 2 months working with you to get you to be able to do this thing, right? But your insurance runs out in a week and you're going home. So what do we really need to work on? You know what I mean? And so it kind of helps you set up your priorities, right? This is a time to use pragmatic reasoning, right? And then the last one is conditional reasoning. And conditional reasoning it's kind of a cheat. It's basically saying I'm going to use an eclectic approach and use all the reasonings based upon the realities dictated by this particular person's condition, the conditions that we find ourselves in, So it's kind of neat. It can help prioritize other strategies. There's a time to be practical. There's a time to be procedural. There's a time to be interactive, and so on and so forth.
And narrative,
So,
yeah. That's all of that's really, really valuable, and I can see why it's taught, or covered in a class with a bunch of, young adults who really haven't necessarily universally been exposed to different kinds of reasoning. Period. So it all makes sense. I mean, all that's applicable to anyone who's working with people in an office setting or working with individuals.
Yeah,
That's all
Yeah,
really-
absolutely. Yeah, you could use this at work. You could use this in your relationships.
I would like to see this taught to kids,
Yeah.
taught to families.
Oh, yeah,
I-
absolutely.
yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in a relationship with somebody and your significant other is in a situation, they're upset, they have a need, whatever it is, it can kind of help you to go, what's called for? What kind of reasoning do I need to use at this moment? Do I need to be practical? Do I need to be more interactive right now? Maybe I'm about to give advice when I just need to be more interactive. and just see what comes out of this. I don't need to tell her she shouldn't be feeling this way. Maybe I just need to interact and find out a little more about what's going on and what is actually being felt. You see what I mean? So these things could be used by anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, I love that.
So.